Ready to go?
Yep.
Ready on the left, ready on the right. Watch your line.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress plugins A to Z, not Z.
Well, this is it, folks. This is episode 1 for 2023. So I guess it's episode 587. Holy crap, we've had a lot of episodes here. At any rate, this is going to be a wonderful show. We're going to actually use the intro this time. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 80,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gems? Join us for a weekly, unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress plugins from A to Z. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out in the globe today. Coming to you direct from the Oasis, deep in the heart of the Cowichan Valley, and from the future, from the past, and from the future again. I'm John Overall, and with me is the ever-lovely
Amber Overall.
And we have a great show for you today. This here is just a warm-up show for what 2023 is going to bring us. As everyone was poking at that door, praying, please, 2023, be nice to us. We've had a rough couple 3 years, so let's be nice. Come on, be nice. And we're just gonna, kind of bring it in. It's a happy time. This is a pre-recorded show, as was the Christmas one or the Boxing Day one, because it's the holiday season. We decided to actually take some time off, but we actually took some time out to pre-record these shows, just so you, our wonderful listeners out there, our producers, can actually understand that we are still here and we didn't disappear from the planet. All that being said, I'm on a big soapbox.
Thank you for sharing, John. Now get down from that soapbox.
He's so mean to me.
He is, but it's so entertaining every time. Cat, no.
Yes. I hear you giggle every time. It's like you really enjoy that one little clip.
I do. And my cat Cat walked on the keyboard. Evil cat.
Well, at least he's not running all the controls right now. Imagine what he'd do if he was running all the recording controls. He might do something like this.
Glitch. Can you?
You get a whole bunch of those going off all at once.
I know a lot of people want to send blank.
Come on, stop. See, that's what cats do.
No, it's just what you do.
Just think if it was a cat, though, and you had that window open, you hit your keyboard. These things pop off by hitting keyboards.
True. Well, welcome to episode New Year plans and such. As Dad said, it is episode 1 for 2023. And this is the first episode for us for the new year. Hopefully everyone had an amazing Christmas and New Year's. Even though this is our New Year's episode, it's actually day after New Year's when this will come out to you all. It's pre-recorded. Want to make sure you guys knew that we did not forget about you. Something I noticed is that 2023 equals 7. 7 is kind of a cool one in numerology.
No, it is.
The number 7 meaning in numerology has a mystical consideration since it is related to the lunar cycle. 4 cycles of 7 days with the 7 notes, the 7 colors, the 7 days of the week, the 7 plagues, the 7 virtues or deadly sins. It is a number with a great capacity for analysis since the mind judges matter, looking for explanations and searching for the deep root that lies behind appearances. It is the mind on earth that is agriculture. The application is study and observation of the cycles of crops for one's survival as a principle of stability, security, and satisfaction of the first needs that allowed human development until the present society. I personally think this next year is going to be very interesting, and I think it'll be nicer than the last year.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I'm really hoping it's going to be nicer than the last couple 3 years. The last couple 3 years have been rough. They have. Not only for the lives of everyone, but in development and the way the internet's changed and all kinds of miscellaneous things have just been challenging, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad the new PHP isn't breaking things quite as badly as we worried it would.
Yeah, well, the nice thing is, you mentioned recently that I thought they were just going to stop all support for 7.4, but they're going to continue support for 7.4 for a little while.
Yeah.
And so the movement to PHP 8 then is not as crucial as was thought.
Mm-hmm.
it's eventually going to get to the point where it's going to be crucial, but not as crucial as was thought. And the nice thing is that WordPress is not downgrading it. In other words, in the dashboard area, PHP 7.4 doesn't get the warning window.
No,
PHP 7
only PHP 3.
PHP 7.3 and below gets the big warning window in the dashboard that says your PHP is no longer compatible. Please upgrade it now. If you don't know how, contact your hosting developer or your hosting provider. And I had a few panic clients because I think they made that change relatively recently too for PHP 7.3.
Yeah.
Because I had a few clients last 3 weeks panicked about it, and I log in and it's only on 7.3. What's the problem? And I'm like, oh, okay. I switched 7.4. It's fine. A couple of them, I tried to move them to 8, but there's something wrong with their site. We've got to sort out before we can move them to 8. So.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot of our clients are having that issue where 7.4 is good, 8 bad.
Well, yeah, that's it. Well, that's because there's something in 8 that is not compatible with some plugins or themes. And that's the problem. And what really surprises me is that I moved my own website to 8 and everything worked fine. And most of our clients have virtually the same plugins that I have.
Yeah, it's interesting how that works.
Which makes my mind warp because it's like, why does it work on my site but not theirs? And one of them has, I think it's 100% identical to the plugins. And I'm just like, why is it not working? There's no reason for it not work, especially since they're on one of my servers. Which makes it even more bizarre because it's not my server. It's obviously something in their website is just bizarre. We got to sort it out. So challenges, man, challenges. So I think we'll have some challenges in the new year.
We will, but at the same time, these challenges they're more like giant puzzles, so they're more interesting.
That's why they're called challenges. They're not problems. Problems are something else. Challenges is something that is overcome.
Very true. So I wanted to go over a few things that will be a bit different for the shows going forward after this New Year's. So the first thing I wanted to bring up is the contests. So far, we've been doing contests for a long time now where they run for 2 weeks. Honestly, though, it doesn't feel like it's been long enough in between the contests. On the other hand, leaving it as one contest per month feels like too long. It's kind of boring. So, managed to settle on 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's a good time frame. Just keep talking. I'm just throwing in my 2 cents. You keep talking. They may or may not hear me.
Okay. Yeah, every 3 weeks. So the contest will start up after the New Year's. I believe it will be January 9th that the next contest will be running for. And it'll go for 3 weeks. And then on the 4th Monday after we start the contest, we will announce the winner and bring in the new contest.
Yay.
Kind of a good in-between. And as everyone has probably noticed by now, there is a new layout for the show notes. And we'll probably be tweaking them here and there. Tweaking a notes is really never ending, as anyone who does a show can contest. So if anybody out there has anything to say, something they'd like to have added, something they'd like to have removed, reach out, let us know. Because we can tweak the show to an extent to make it more enjoyable for you to listen to.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Due to our lives being turned so upside down these past couple of years, we have had a couple issues getting our show out every single week. Though this year, we already have our feet under us, and we're basically starting the year running on our feet. So, not a bad start to the year so far.
No, let's try and keep it up. It's really hard for anyone who's never done a podcast. You might not understand, but anyone who's ever done a podcast knows how much time goes into each show.
Yeah, well, moving twice in 1 year is not conducive to keeping things going.
No, moving twice in 1 year is not conducive to keeping things going, along with all the other personal things I dealt with last year.
Yeah, it's been a crazy past couple of years. I'm pretty sure this next year, I mean, the number of this next year is 7. 7 is a stable number. It's a great number. I think this next year is going to be great.
1357, I believe 7's a prime number.
It is.
Means it's indivisible. Except by 1 in itself.
Yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to bring to the table for what we can expect to be different over the new year. It's essentially the way our show comes out, and our contests are going to change, and that's really all the changes that you're going to be experiencing over the next year.
Yeah, and you can expect the show to show up every Monday, give or take, sometime in the early afternoon. Unless, of course, you really want to join us live. We're still going to be doing it live at 11 11 a.m. on YouTube's,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the easiest place to stream and where the largest audience is for the streaming. Other than
Speaking
that,
of live, if anybody's interested in joining us for the show, you're welcome to reach out and ask about that.
yeah, there's that. And I'm going to be revamping the schedule for anyone who wants to do interviews. I haven't done an interview now in several months. I had a few people book interviews but didn't show up for them.
Mm.
So it's like, I like doing the interviews, but you have to book them for the time slots I have available. And if you don't show up, well, you got to rebook it, because I only allocate a certain amount of time for interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to get some more interviews going. We haven't had an interview now in quite some time. And for a while, I've been doing them quite regularly, but maybe the developers of plugins are either scared of me because I'm such a hard interviewer. I'm terrible, folks. I mean, I'm just so brutal with my questioning. I just rip everything wide open and anyway.
As you sit back silently listening, totally.
Oh, silently listening. It's a pretty easy interview for those that have plugins, no plugin developers, or someone who wants to talk WordPress. Now, I get these strange random requests from time to time. I've got somebody who's a perfect guest for your show. I look at it. You're selling gold or some other silly such thing. No, it's like we read all about. We listen to your shows. It's like you haven't listened to a single one of my shows. Because if you had listened to my shows, you wouldn't have bothered contacting me, because my audience is not your audience at all.
No.
I always find those ones just truly amusing. I just look at it and I just shake my head and go, yeah, okay. I suppose it works if you spam enough podcasters. I mean, after all, there's close to 5 million podcasts out there now.
These days, yeah.
Well, we'll find out. The official place for getting your podcasts is no longer Apple.
No.
It's now Podcasting 2.0 Index.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take a look and see, because they actually list.
Something I just wanted to mention,
Yeah.
You said that you allocate a certain amount of time. Well, for a lot of people who are still kind of new to working at home, that's one of the most important things you can do is allocate a certain amount of time to do certain things, like doing interviews or even your work hours. Allocating a very strict schedule for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
barring any kind of emergencies. That is the best thing you can do for yourself, because otherwise you'll find yourself pulling like 12 and 15-hour days every day, and you'll burn out, and you'll severely burn yourself out.
You will. All right, I've got the stats from the podcast index. There's 4,096,181 podcasts in the podcast index. Of that, active podcasts in the last 3 days, 110,000. 10 days, 246,000. 30 days, 358,000. This is where they find out it's hard work. 60 days, 437,000. 90 days, 490,000. So this is where they find out it's work. After the 30 days, they find out it's work and they quit updating them.
Pretty much.
We are in the top 10% because our podcast is always active within the last 10 days. We don't do them every 3 days. Looks like only 110,000 podcasters do a podcast every 3 days.
Wow.
My hat is off to those guys, because I tried that once.
That sounds so rough. Like, I'm always tired after a show. It takes so much out of you.
Well, it takes so much out of you to do the show. It takes so much out of you to prepare for the show. And then for me, I was not only preparing for the show, doing the show, as I am still now, editing the files, splitting the files up, creating the audio file and blah, blah. Took me forever before I got it streamlined to where I can do it in like 15, 20 minutes. But there's a lot that goes into it. Anyway, I just thought it was some good stats for those that are out there that want to create their own podcast. Go for it. Have fun. List it in the podcast index, because the Apple index is going to die this next year.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the premier index. That was the index that was the Apple index was originally created by the Podfather, who created the podcast 2.0 index to take over because he knew the Apple index was dying.
So what do you think is likely going to happen over the next year, WordPress-wise?
Well, I haven't I haven't watched the State of the Word that Matt put out a few days ago. He put out a State of the Word a few days ago, I think. I think I saw some news on it. So I don't know. Next year, they're going to be pushing. They've been pushing the the block editor, the Gutenberg block editor, really hard for 2 years now.
This is true.
They were supposed to stop supporting it last year, or stop supporting the old editor last year. They'll probably push real hard this next year to stop support for the old editor. I imagine, you know, we're at WordPress 6.1 now, 6.1.
Yes.
So during the course of this year, we'll see 6.2, 6.3, and 6.4. So I imagine they're going to push all this because they want to prepare for WordPress 7. And I imagine WordPress 7 is where they want to push the block editor as the only editor for the system, unless, of course, you use something like Elementor or somebody else who replaces that editor with something that many people can understand.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to change the ecosystem. That's something I see. They want to change the ecosystem even further. You know, there's a lot going on in AI right now with, as we know, proof of concept has happened where the AI, the GPT AI, has written a plugin that actually worked.
Oh, scary and amazing.
It's scary and amazing, but that's going to be used massively over the next year, because once one person does it,
everyone will do it.
Everyone will do it. And then what they'll do, because once you get multiple people doing things from multiple directions, you get people with, oh, I got a different idea. What happens if I ask it this question and I get it to do this, or I get it to do that? So we'll see some interesting stuff. The AI that we've joked about many, many times over the last year because of all the grief we've had is actually coming into play, folks. And I don't even know what to think about that. I almost want to shut down all my computers and phones and go live on an isolated island somewhere.
Yeah, I hear that. It's kind of freaky, but I'm trying to have very positive outlook, like Star Trek kind of idealism.
Well, but Star Trek idealism, they don't actually have an AI. They just have a super mega computer. It's not an AI, Star Trek stuff. It's a super mega computer.
Yeah, I mean, they do. There's that one race that
the Borg.
The bios.
Oh.
They speak in like clicks and ticks, and
yeah,
they're
not bios.
Technology.
It's the input-output people. The people that are computers themselves.
Yes.
They're the ones.
There's that one.
They're the ones that connected their whole society to the computers and their brains to computers, and then they have to be in pairs. They always have to be in pairs because one's the plus, one's the negative.
Yes.
You know, and that's what good old Elon's trying to do to our societies, connect us like that.
But that's the only thing I can think of in the Star Trek world where they actually had an AI.
No, there's the Borg.
That's not really an AI.
No, it's a queen colony, so it's partial AI.
It's partial AI, but you know, it's more like the Borg has always reminded me more of killer bees.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess more like killer bees. Anyway, I see that we've got technology's advancing so fast right now. We don't know what's going to really happen, but I see a lot of changes in the WordPress world in the next year. Some of it'll be good, some of it'll be bad. Some of it'll be
riding a roller coaster.
Yep, that'll be it. Oh, that's pretty much it. Well, we've got a new year, new things coming, lots of exciting things happening. We're going to continue this show because there's a never-ending supply of plugins, and if they make that AI plugin live, I suggest you track it down and review it.
Be interesting.
Yep. All right. Anything else we want to babble on about?
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year's, everyone. Hope you had a great Christmas and a New Year's, and you got everything you wanted, and you're not suffering too much of a hangover today. All right. We'll talk to you later now. That's all I've got. Let a girl take us out.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at wppluginsa2z.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A to Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsa2z.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page. using wppluginsa2z.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WPPluginsA2Z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.
Alrighty, folks. That's all we got for you now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Adios, mofo.